Welcome back, tribe. I don't even know what to call this article. Simp virtue signaling. Let's get into it. Bitter men just want to see women hit the wall. Red pill guys believe in an expiration date for female privilege. You mean attraction. Okay. At the beginning of August, Reddit finally banned forums associated with the Men Going Their Own Way movement, or MGTOW, for violating guidelines on hate speech. That violent rhetoric was largely aimed at women, and it survives the redarchive.com, a site that preserves content from various red pill affiliated forums that have been or likely will be deleted from Reddit. This is where you can still read our MGTOW post from last August by the penitent man 38 titled A MGTOW Fable. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, existed a kingdom where men and women lived in harmony. The story begins, but as is most fairy tales, the kingdom was plagued by a mysterious scourge known as the Wall. We then learn that this solid wall appears and moves at random, which means it's incredibly easy to run into. However, such a coalition affects men and women differently. Any woman who ran into the wall will turn into a jug of milk and a man into a bottle of wine. The wine would age slowly into a fruity ambrosia with a fine bouquet, but the milk would quickly turn sour into a sorry mess. Observant men noticed that the wall hit mostly women 30 and above and rarely hit men, if at all. The tale continues with the efforts of a king at the behest of his furious female subjects to destroy the wall, a task that proves categorically impossible. The moral, if you want to call it that, is that a core tenet of MGTOW and related hubs for misogyny, every woman is spoiled after a certain age, while the majority of men become more attractive with age. A woman past her prime is said to have hit the wall, and supposed certainty of this outcome is reflected in a slogan, "The wall is undefeated." And we got a Twitter link here that says, I wonder what it's like for chicks in their late 20s that run into guys that they could have easily had in their early 20s, but the guys have now improved themselves and have zero interest in them now. The wall is undefeated. Okay. This isn't some MGTOW invented terminology or red pill invented terminology. It's known in psychology and sociology. Older men prefer younger women. Older women are not preferred by men. This is nothing new. They're trying to make it seem like it's a misogynist. Well, we know why it's tend to be labeled as misogynist in the gynocracy we live in that's built to make women's lives easier on all fronts at the expense of men in any category possible. The Manosphere isn't an especially happy place. I mean, I'll give him that one. There's a lot of guys in red pill forums, Manosphere communities that are unhappy, that have a lot of resentment and anger towards women. They feel rejected and isolated. We all know that there exists a certain aspect of this community that essentially adopted some sort of a black pill mentality. Guys that are drawn to this toxic community in order to vent, rage, and bemoan the state of gender, talk of the wall in no less spiteful than the rest. Yet the metaphor is a rare source of satisfaction among these groups. It's sweet revenge. The women who scorn them are now made to feel the shoe is on the other foot. The life as a red pill dude can be lonely and crushing. Many feel it's a light sentence compared to the agony of a woman finding she no longer has her pick of subservient men. And that idea is something they celebrate. Even older women, mothers, tell daughters to find a man young while they're in their, quote, prime. Older women tell daughters this. Another tweet. It's hilarious when women hit the wall and talk about how they've found God and are giving up their old party lifestyle to lock down a man with money. She hasn't found shiz. Men wanting younger women kicked her off the carousel. She's as selfish and self-interested as ever. And then he responded to himself saying, she's still solipsistic, hypergamous, gender biased by her in-group preferences for women. I mean, the echo chamber is even larger today, and that has a negative effect on both men and women. Men are hardening their resolve into sort of the more negative aspects of red pill, where you're hating on the other gender, and it does blind you in areas of self-improvement and happiness because you're so fixated on what women are doing and what women deserve to have done to them. And that's unfortunate. There are a ton of men that are stuck in that cycle currently. And for women, they're being sold this Disneyland fairy tale like Barbie doll dream on Instagram and social media of what they should and shouldn't expect from men, which leads to them burning out quickly with no skills. So by the time they do age to 30 and above, and they look to settle down because, again, her attraction is no longer what it used to be to the so-called high-value men she used to get. So now she's feeling the pangs of like, my body's telling me I want to have a baby. On top of that, I need to secure a man because, oh my God, the attention I'm getting is no longer the same. And I don't want to die alone. This is why a lot of women today soothe with animals, dogs especially. How come every like social media account of women's that you see or dating apps say that she's a cat mom, dog mom, some sort of animal mom, this and that. Dog mom of two. She's essentially soothing her motherly instincts through animals. And a lot of women are going to end up being just so-called pet moms and nothing more than that. And that's how they're going to sell themselves the gynocracy that has spellbound them into thinking that being a wage slave and finding purpose in plaques and titles of a job is more fulfilling than being at home raising your own children. Let's keep going. The wall hypothesis doesn't hold up to any scrutiny, of course. Plenty of men look far worse at 40. This is the but what about? And yeah, a bunch of men do look worse at 40 because they don't take care of themselves. But money's the great equalizer. And two, women don't care about young men in their 20s. They like men that are always older than them. So a 20-year-old woman generally dates a guy up to 5 years or more older than her. A common complaint that women give is literally, I hate guys my age. They're so stupid. They're so immature. All they care about is sex. They're broke. They can't help me do anything. They can't afford anything. They can't take me out. So a woman's not even looking at guys her age because they look like babies to them. And like my little brother. A lot of them say that. I'm not going to date some guy that has no experience, no maturity, no ability to provide me with all the things I would want in life. Hello. And it goes on to say, and countless women over 30, the upper age limit of feminine appeal, often cited, are desired and seen as beautiful. If there is a kernel of truth to this narrative of female ruin, it's that the aggressive sexism built in our society and distilled to a bitter poison by these men contributes to many women's negative perception of their bodies at all ages. So it's, again, men's faults. It's always a man's fault. In that way, the MGTOWs et al. Create the reality of the wall for themselves, incredible, by just believing this theory. So in the real world, where you're not a red pillar or whatever misogynist, whatever they claim you to be, the concept of the wall, boys, does not exist anywhere else in society. It is not naturally occurring. If you look at the Middle East, how old are the wives? On average. If you look at Latin America, how old are wives on the average? If you look at Asia, when a rich man, a well-off man, a man looking to start a family, how old is the wife usually in comparison to him? Wow. Likewise, if you look at all those societies and cultures, what tends to be the age bracket that single women are in? Especially those that struggle to find a partner and start a family. What age bracket are those women in that are struggling to find a man to start a family? Do you think it teeters over to the older crowd or the younger women? Make believe, right? With each piece of anecdotal evidence, they are only declaring a specific woman ineffable, then attributing this to some fact of nature instead of their warped, cruel standards of romantic eligibility. There's a reason you don't find women older than like 25 on any yachts, at any private parties, at any events where there are wealthy, well-off, high-value men. Over 25 is rare. She's going to be peaking in her early 20s, and that's what they want. Show me, unless they're married, show me women that are partying on those yachts that are 30 plus. Come on, man. Come on, man. You're telling me all those men are under this warped reality of the wall as well? You think it doesn't have a biological basis to why this exists and has existed since the beginning of time? Finding a young bride? Okay. About 95% of attractive girls in my high school have walled out. So this is from the Red Pill archives. It says the one or two that are still mildly attractive are rapidly descending. It's only a matter of a year or two left. I'd say that the most attractive ones left have just announced that she's pregnant after getting a new baby daddy for her 12-year-old. She was the last one, but I'm thinking this new baby mama is going to do her in. This new baby is going to do her in. The body don't heal the same at 35, and she had already put on about 30 pounds over the past decade. Just some anecdotal evidence in my life that the wall is undefeated. It's true, people let themselves go after high school. It's no different. Men and women do this the same. But again, it's more painful for women because while you're on the market looking for a man, a woman's beauty is paramount to men. It's above the status you have at work, the income you bring in. What matters the most to a man, unfortunately, whether you want to argue the morality of that in society or not, is female attractiveness. Just like if on the counterpoint, if you want to argue the morality of women looking at men as providers and walking wallets, essentially, how well can you provide for a family? I need a man that I can safely start a family with and we're not starving to death. If you got no money, why are we even talking? Etc., etc. That's the message women are doling out today. Well, that's fine because men have their own preferences. Younger, beautiful, etc. Women, older, more well-established men. But we're not going to talk about those double standards, boys. Remember, this article written by a man, no less, it's all your fault. And it's your own imagination constructing this theory that's causing you the bitterness. What accounts like this predictably erase is the perspective of the people they're judging. The red pill bro has a strong incentive to imagine women around him as either full of disappointment or on her way there, and full of regret for how they treated men, such as himself, in the flower of youth. But he doesn't actually know what she thinks or feels in her present experience. When he goes to a high school reunion and decides that all his formerly hot classmates are repulsive, he is casting a wide net over women who might well be in loving marriages and nice careers. Women with warm homes and the children they love. Okay, that's increasingly rare today, buddy. At any rate, they're oblivious to his contempt. He's standing outside the circle projecting a harsh comeuppance. While everybody else catches up with old friends on the dance floor, he attributes to his savage critique a scope of influence it simply doesn't have. Let's finish this BS article. All right. Time and time again, I ran into younger fellas frustrated with entitled, "Treat me like a princess because I have a V," females of today. I explained to them that at 39 years old, I have experienced one ultimate truth, witnessed one formula that never changes, never fails, and always levels the playing field. I tell them, be patient. Mother Nature will humble these chicks like nothing else. Permanently. It's true. Another wall tradition. Men comparing photos of middle-aged female celebrities to shots from when they were young sex symbols. Why does he revel in this? Does he believe that these retired millionaires are suffering, or that the sneering of some anonymous incel on a janky website means anything to them after decades of the media hyper-analyzing their appearance? Because that's a curious attribution of power and just so happens to burnish his ego. But that's necessary if he wants to keep his head up while discussing a philosophy that mainly traffics in despair. He takes a shred of comfort by wishing something worse than his misery on the woman he blames it for, even famous ones he'll never meet. I mean, these are just examples of the wall, nothing more, nothing less. Some men take pleasure in seeing women hit the wall, which, they're still going through their anger phase, resentment, which is fine. Other men understand it's just a natural process of sexual market value, where as we get older, we all tend to lose market value past a certain age, but women have an expiration date. As unfortunate as that might sound to society, it's known in sociology, it's known in psychology, the sexual preferences for men and the sexual preferences for women. We have different biological needs when we're looking to start a family, and that manifests in men want younger women who can bear more children, healthier children as well, have safer pregnancies, versus a woman looks for an older man that can support her and the children so that they can have the best outcome in life. This is just common knowledge. Just because people on the internet have come up with some terminology like the wall doesn't mean it's some misogynistic ideology. Regardless, if there's a certain population of that group that is feeling a bit of nihilism and the so-called despair this guy says they traffic in, yes, you're going to have some men in some part of a group unhappy with the current dating market and socioeconomic market and look to vent to other men in the forums that share a similar enough mentality in life, but will usually correct them when they're going off base. The illusion is paper thin, and underneath it lies the plain universal fear of death that unites our species. Men and other MGTOW disciple once wrote, are biologically hardwired to be better tomorrow than today. It's in our biology and genetics to be fitter, more muscular, and smarter as we age. Diet, exercise, and abstaining from drugs and alcohol will ensure man continues to improve ad infinitum. This doesn't hold for a woman, he argues. No matter how hard women try to avoid the wall, they're biologically doomed to crash into it. Speaking in absolutes like that, I don't agree. A woman has plenty of ways she can essentially have a soft landing on the wall and turn it into a cushy, cloud-like substance. And that's taking care of herself, her looks, empowering herself in her feminine nature, being supporting, being nurturing, helping her man be a better version of herself, composing herself in a more traditional manner, a woman looking for a ring, and understanding the power and the value that her youth and her body have, and just the way men are wired to look at that value, and demand commitment for herself with the idea of starting a family. Therefore, a woman like that gets essentially what they call pick-me's today by modern women, they have arrived. There is no wall for women like that. She is traditional, bearing children at home, raising a family, turning a house into a home, being taken care of by a man that loves her, and living essentially the dream life that most of the, quote, modern women want to live. Except they're doing it on a more corrupt fashion that's been programmed into them in such a disingenuous way by social media, right? Essentially, these women think like, I deserve a multi-millionaire. My happiness is based on the things he can buy me. If I can go on trips, if I could get handbags, designer clothes, shoes, cars, whatever, that's love from a man. If I could get things out of a man, treat him like a walking wallet, that means he cares, which is absolutely categorically false. Like, a man can buy you things and not care about you. We call that prostitution. We can literally trade, barter things for your body. You know, that's the basis of the sugar daddy lifestyle. Essentially, you get women that are willing to trade their bodies for material things and money outright, but you're on retainer. You're a streetwalker on retainer. And we've revamped the word into sugar baby to make it more palatable for the women that are engaging in these acts, in this lifestyle. It's a sad state of affairs, man. All right, let's end this one already. That's beyond unscientific. It's clinically naive. Men ain't immortal. Humans decay according to a shared cellular programming. We all decline until we meet the genuine and immovable wall, death. Regardless of chromosomes, relative sex appeal, or what we did in our fleeting time. Realizing that a man would maybe spend fewer hours consumed with fantasies of women destroyed. All right, Miles. Let's see, guys, who is this Miles? Because a man wrote this, right? Look, he's over here hanging out in a pink flamingo floating, and he even has an Instagram. Let's see. He is a he, him, just so you don't make a mistake. This is the definition of masculinity here. Telling you how to live your life as a man, and that you're a bigot, you're a hater. Yeah, dude. This guy. Yep. That picture basically tells you enough, bro. I wouldn't take advice from a guy like this on anything male, masculine related whatsoever. Anywho, hope you guys liked today's episode. I don't even know what to say, man. World's getting crazy. Men have gotten softer. If you haven't joined our Discord, there are thousands of men getting together and helping hold each other accountable and aspire for more in life instead of looking like a soy boy and parroting narratives of the gynocracy to other men. We'll see you on the next one.